It's time. Hello and good evening to another edition of Talking Bulls. Tonight we've got a focus on the reserve team, who resumed their season early in April. It looks like they'll finish the season to a degree. They might not get every game in, but they're certainly going to get enough in to finish the season, make it worthwhile, and give us some live football. With a bit of luck, we'll have the media team at a couple of the games. They'll certainly be reporting on the action. But before we do that, I'd like to say hello to Lee Owens, who is the manager of the reserve side, and one of his players, Brad Parry, who've joined us tonight. Evening, gents.
Evening.
I'll point. If I point up, I point to Lee. If I point down, I point to Brad. It's been a bit of a crazy season for the whole of football in the whole of the country. You guys haven't been untouched by the madness. You've got the good news of having to get yourselves ready to play in just a couple of weeks. Lee, as the manager, how has the season been for you?
It's been quite difficult, to be honest. Obviously, we've made the step up into Division 1, and it took a while to find our feet. And as we've slowly started to find our feet, obviously we've been hit with the pandemic, which has stopped our flow. And now that we've got the date to restart, we haven't seen the lads together for 3 months. So we've only got one training session before we actually head back into league football, which is going to be difficult to try and get the lads up to scratch to compete at this level.
Sicky. Brad, how's it been for you as a player?
Same as the year. It's quite difficult. Obviously, when we get back and that, it's what can I say? It's going to be hard. But then everyone's in the same boat, aren't they? I suppose so. It depends how much work you've done. I think. I know a few of the lads have been like we've got a lad who plays for us who's a PT. So I know a few of the lads have been with him over the duration of the lockdown and stuff. I've done a few bits of them myself, a few little jogs and stuff. So if everyone's been doing the bits on their own, I think we'll be fine. I think as soon as we get back into it, we'll just click again. We were playing well before the lockdown, so I think hopefully if we can get back to that standard, I think we'll do well in the league,
Have you managed to stay in touch with many of your teammates?
I think that's for you, Brad.
Teammates.
Sorry, have you managed to stay in touch with many of your teammates?
Yeah, I'm close to a few of them. But obviously the group chat and stuff, which everyone's quite active in every so often. And then I've got a few lads who are quite close to it in the group of lads. So we've kept in touch. Yeah, I think it's been all right. Everyone's sort of got their own little groups, but we are one team. We are all quite close. Especially when we step on the pitch,
Excellent. Lee, for you as the manager, have you been able to get anything going in terms of keeping the group motivated, keeping them talking, and not just the players, the coaches, because you've got a good coaching group there. Can you tell us who you've got on your team?
Going back onto the players' side, obviously with the pandemic, we've let the players do what they need to do to obviously stay with the families and stay safe. I'm just keeping in close contact every now and then through the WhatsApp group to see how people are, what people are up to, if they're doing their own thing, if they need to go out and do their own work, which they've been doing with Zach. I know they've been going with Dean, Baker and Dave, the first team manager, doing their own sessions as well with them. On the point of the coaching staff, obviously we've got the legend himself, haven't we, Carl Connolly, little club hero, which he lets everyone know every time he walks into the changing rooms when he sees his picture. And that's him. Every now and then he sends his videos of him scoring for Wrexham, just to give everyone a little reminder of who he is. But yeah, so we've obviously got Carl, experienced pro, brings a lot of experience to the young lads, teaching them little things that they would never ever think of, things that he's learned over the years. And then we've got obviously Michael Garside, who's played in the Welsh Prem. He's a brand new coach coming through, working through his badges. We've got Dylan Dickinson, who works for Michael Corliss and also works with Everton in the community. And he's a level 2 qualified coach working up his badges as well. So with Michael and Dylan, they're both young lads still in the coaching world as well. So we've got the variety there of Carl being old of his old ways and the new lads coming through. But we seem to work on the same page. We all want the same thing and the same style of football.
As the manager, though, for you, it's someone who is, like you say, has got an established pedigree as a player. As the gaffer, how does he respond to you and the way you manage your team?
Well, I come through the ranks at the club, and Carl was obviously with the first team. So even on my first day, Carl was giving me loads of jib in the changing room. So I was young, easy prey, and he's still like that now. But even when I went to Rainhill, I brought Carl in to be the coaching staff because I always got on really well with Carl, and the banter between us bounces off. The way he is the way I want him around the lads. Nothing changes. I want him to be the way he was with me when I was young, and that's how lads learn that. The dressing room, what happens in the dressing room stays in the dressing room, because some of the stuff that he gets up to is quite amusing, and things he gets off to away from the pitch. But we both want the same style of play. When he talks, obviously he's played higher up, so when he talks, everyone listens. Even myself, I learn from him because he sees things that we would never see at our level, and his style of management and coaching is he's not really a shouter. He'll bring lads over and he'll give them the feedback that they need, or he pulls them one side and he'll give them little tips. And I think that's vital in this day and age, man managing your players. When you start, I'm a shouter. I try and calm myself down, but sometimes it's hard. So you need that balance of he used to be the good guy and I have to be the bad guy.
Right. But Brad, I can see you smiling there. So which one is most likely to give you the air dryer treatment at half time?
That for me, that one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Probably Lee. Definitely Lee. A few times where I've had to try and calm him down. And I remember last season when he was going, I think he was only a second last season, he was going off at the ref in one game, like, and you were vocal, weren't you, Lee? And I wouldn't want to repeat anything you said on here, like, but I mean, there was some terrible words, and so I just had to calm him down. I had to walk over to the touchline and tell him to do one, like, because he was going to get himself tense up. But yeah, so Lee's the vocal one, and he's very loud. And as you say with Carl, he's quite quiet, but obviously with him being a striker coach and me being a striker, he teaches me a lot, like, and you can tell the knowledge he's got. I mean, you can tell he was professional, like.
So what's he like on the training ground? Obviously, you realise that he's a former professional. He's considered a club legend, and his picture's on the wall in the changing room. How does that to you as a player come across, and how does that motivate you to want to try and be a club legend yourself?
Yeah, you just know he's respected quite a lot by everyone, and when he talks, you listen, and I think everyone sort of understands that. So obviously, he's been at the club for a few years, and he had his spells elsewhere and stuff, but he's come back, hasn't he? So, as I say, it's just to be respected by everyone around. I think that's probably the main thing for me. Like,
Do you see that's something that you'd like to do long term? Because obviously you've been away from the club yourself.
Yeah.
I know you're only in the reserve unit at the moment, but upwards and onwards, as we say, the first team is certainly within your grasp. How do you feel the opportunities are for you at the club for pushing on?
This season more than last, I think. I think that there's been a few more lads go up this season, and it's certainly when you see a few of the lads go up to the first team, it gives you you want that to be you. And I think I'll speak for a few of the lads there when I say that. You see them going up and doing well. You know, Ethan Van Asten, I think he went up last year, but he's been doing well and he's not come back down at all. So I think looking at him, you think you want to go and do that yourself. And the new manager that's come into the first team, and obviously we had Sprosen last year, Johnny Sprosen, who's one of the assistant gaffers now. He knows what a good bunch of lads we are, and he knows some of the quality that we've got in that team. So I think he's helping with getting us pushed up and stuff. So there's a better opportunity this year, I'd say, definitely.
Excellent. Lee, as the manager, I know you've been working very close with Craig, because Craig is really, really interested in the reserve team setup. How eager are you to push your players on to that first team, maybe to the detriment of your team?
But the relationship with Craig goes back years, because he used to be my strike partner with the youth team. So I've known Craig since my youth team days with the club. And when he come in and he pitched his ideas to us all, we was like fresh air that we needed, because the reserves and first team, especially from my experience, just hasn't been together at all. It felt like two separate clubs at most of the stage. So to see, I think we've had 6 or 7 lads be invited to train with the first team, as well as some of them making the debuts and even in friendlies playing. So we've missed that. But when players go up, Craig sends players down to match minutes up with us. So I think we've got 6 or 7 first team players signed on for us at the moment. When they need fitness, they come play for us, report back to Craig, and then Craig takes it from there. And we've got this relationship where I won't pick my squad until Craig picked his squad, because then he'll tell me how many people's coming with us, and then we work around that. And unfortunately, lads have to miss out, but we've told them from day one when Craig come in that unfortunately we are a reserve team, and that's what we're here for. We're here to help progress your game, but we're also here to make sure the first team are ready to come back from injury and then work the way up and get back in the first team squad. So, and that's what we're here for. But we always say to our lads, we don't want you staying with us. Our aim, if you get called up, that's a benefit for us and yourself, to show that, yeah, we're doing something right, and then you're doing something right, and you're getting reward at the end of the day. So each week we say to them, we don't want you to stay with us. We want you to work your way up and go and play football at a higher level and go and make some money and make a living out of it.
Yeah, well, I've been over and seen you train a couple of times, and I know the intensity is quite high. Have you spoken to Craig at all about the kind of things they work on, so that you can do the same, so that when players do step up, they're ready to slot straight in?
Yeah, we have spoken in the past about it, because at the moment we play 2 different formations to each other. And I know that with conversations with Craig, we have actually spoke saying, if you want to play a certain formation, then we'll then implement your formation the way you want to play. Because then if you ever need that player, they can just step up and play that position no matter what. They'll know exactly how they want you to play, because we play the same way. And I know hopefully that's going to come in from next season, hopefully. Because at the moment, Craig's finding his feet and he's trying to find his best formation as team, and we want to get them across and play. And we're doing the same. We're trying to adapt to the big pitch. We're not used. The lads aren't used to playing on the ground. We're used to the small Astro. So we've got to cover more ground, which we're not used to. So we've had to put a formation in place that helps us, especially at home.
Yeah, I'm gonna come back to that pitch in a minute. Brad, then as a player, you could say that there's quite a bit of uncertainty from week to week, because you're not sure which players are going to be in the unit with you come the match. How is it for you as a player with those lads coming down, to get yourself into a position where you can push on and challenge for that first team?
So seeing the lads come down, you can tell that there's definitely a bit of a different standard. Don't think it's a lot, but you can tell, they're a bit fitter, they're a bit louder than us. So I think if you look at them and sort of try and take little bits from them, the players that are coming down, I think you can learn from them. And if you're learning from them, I think you can only go up to that first team. And obviously playing with them, and them obviously having a different style of play. It's a bit tough, but I think you just get used to it. The good players, the very good players, and if they're coming down, it's only for match fitness, I think. So I think all the lads do look at them and try and learn off them, and just see what it's about in the first team. Like it's a bit of a glimpse for us to if I say that myself, like.
The thing there is as well, because the guys that don't always train me, I've seen a couple of lads come down for training. This season, the way it's been disrupted and being cut short, that's probably not the most ideal situation for you guys as a reserve unit that are trying to push on, because you've literally hit a brick wall in terms of playing and training. So in terms of, obviously, fitness is a big difference. What have you done yourself outside to keep yourself fit, ready for this resumption?
I think I touched on it just at the start. I think with Zach, one of the lads who we've got in our team, I think he does the PT and like, so obviously done a bit with him, and then just jogging probably 2, 3, 4 times a week, depending on how much time I've got. I wouldn't say I've been doing it every week, and I'm not going to just sit there and lie, like, but I've done a little bit, and I know a good few of the lads have. So I think you'll be able to see a difference with the people who have and who haven't when we get back to training. But I think I'm a big believer in match fitness as well. I think you've got to be match fit. You can do all the fitness you want outside, but I think the match fitness comes into play. So I think it'll take us a couple of games anyway.
I'm sure it will. Lee got promoted this season, and obviously you've made a step up. There's a slightly better standard. But you also went up to a slightly bigger pitch, which has a bit of an impact on how you've had to approach games. How's that affected you?
It's been quite hard. Obviously, I've played at this level, so I knew roughly of the quality of players, teams in our league. They are mostly semi-pro players who have either dropped down because they can't cope with demands of travelling. And teams in this league are very, very organised. They are tough to break down, which is also difficult for us because, especially when they have set pieces, we found it hard at first because we were coming up against 6 foot plus men, and with our lads being young, they weren't really. We haven't got a tall team. We've literally got 1 or 2. And when 1 or 2 were going up against 5 and 6 set pieces, we had to work really, really hard. I think at the start, we were so vulnerable just at set pieces. But at home, I still don't think we've adapted well to the pitch, which is going to take us a while because we come from the Astro on Prescott, which is very, very narrow. The formation we played with, the 4-3-3, it helped because you didn't have enough of the area to cover. We tried the 4-3-3 at the home ground, and there was just gaps everywhere. Asking lads to try and cover those areas was very difficult, especially when the standard of the play is a lot quicker than Division 2. So we had to, I think we went through 3 or 4 formations trying to get our heads around which would suit us, and we've finally found a formation now that suits us, that makes us hard to break down, but at the same time, when we do hit them on the counter, we do punish. I think the last couple of games before the pandemic hit, the lockdown, it started to click. It started to really click, especially the Aintree game. Aintree Villa, where they got crowned champions, didn't they, by the points per whatever ratio they come up with, by 0.1. We never got to play them at all last year in Division 2. And then we played them at their pitch, and we're going back to them. I think it was 5-0.
5-0, yeah.
5-0 their pitch, just to show that we was the best team in Division 2 last season, and all the talk, we finally put that to bed. And that was the game. I think from then, I think that's when the lads started to believe that, yeah, we can actually compete at this level. And then from then, we went on to Marshalls, who at the time sat 4th. We come away with a 3-0 win there. They had most of the ball, but we hit them on the counter 3 times and punished them 3 times.
That's football for you. you play in a team like McGull, who, as Tracy Morton has pointed out in the thread there, that McGull were all giants. I was never a big player myself, and going up against these, even as a man, there's some tall defenders. They're very well organised. What you find at this level, some teams are playing a first team in that league. So you're playing against some really, really experienced players, and you know how to use the body and the height and the physicality. So, Brad, for you then, against some of these players on that bigger pitch, how have you had to adapt your own game?
I think you just got to be quite clever in the way you approach it. I think I do say I think I'm a quite clever player. I'm not big. I'm not that quick. I'm not the most physical, but I think I've got a bit of a brain to it. So I like to position myself well. Being a striker in between the two centre halves and giving them something to worry about. I think if you've got two big centre halves, I mean, most teams have in this league, so it's a bit tough. If I'm getting a ball pumped up to me and I've got two centre halves behind me, I'm never really going to win a header. So I think the way we play as well, we don't really play that long ball. So it's been quite easy for me to adapt because the way we play, it suits my style. Ball into feet or ball just in and around the defenders. So I haven't really had to adapt myself too much, whereas probably other players have. So it's not been too bad for me, to be honest.
Good, that's great. With the games that you've got left, this is to you, Brad. I mean, I think you got 7 games plus a league game. How do you think you're going to do? Because I know it's been a funny season. Other teams are going to be in the same position, and I'm not even sure what fixtures you've got left in front of you. What targets have you set yourself now for the rest of this season?
I'd like to say we'd go out and win every game we've got available. There's no point saying that I want to go and get 3 wins, 4 draws or whatever. I want to go and win every game, and I think that'll be the mindset for everyone in the team. And we'll approach every game wanting to win it. Obviously for me, I'm not bothered about scoring as long as we're winning. As much I would like to score a few, like get me tally up. But I know we've got the same amount of players. We've got no one going up to the first team, obviously, because their season isn't returning. So we should have a good set of lads ready to just finish the season on a high, hopefully.
Excellent. Lee, for yourself, those 7 games, if you to look at the league table, you'd say you could still be in the mix there come the end of the season. Would you say that's a target?
Is that for me, Dave?
Yeah.
Yeah. The 7 games, obviously every game in this league's tough. I've got the fixtures up here, and obviously we start on the 3rd against Newton away. And at the moment, Newton are around the top 3, I believe, top 4. So that's also going to be a difficult game, and as well, Newton do have JP Kissock as well, who's an ex-professional for Everton. So we are aware of him. We know that we're going to probably have to try and work something around trying to stop him, because obviously I think most of the attacks are going to go through him. But look at the fixtures there. We've still got South Liverpool to play. And at the moment, South Liverpool, for me, South Liverpool should be in the counties. They're the counties set up, counties team. So that's a game where the pressure's off the lads. You just go out there and just play football, express yourself. So what he's going to do. We've still got Mersey Royal, who was 2nd. So we've still got to play the top 2. Mersey Royal, we know all about them. We had a great game with them last season. They're physical. It was just tackles flying in. So we know exactly how Mersey Royal set up. They've had a very, very good start to the season. So that's going to be a good game. But other than South Liverpool, I expect us to be competing against the rest. And South Liverpool's one of those luck of the draw games we can turn up and hammer them, or they're just going to blow us away. But yeah, it's just one of them. As Brad said before, everyone's in the same boat. It's how quick people can get up to scratch in match fitness. We might catch teams on an off day where they're not actually fit. I mean, and we worked hard in those couple of weeks that we get back together and we put some results away. But we don't fear anyone. We go out. We'll always have a game plan. And hopefully the game plan works early on, and we can then see what's happened in the game, and then we can change it to try and get on the front foot. But every game for us is a learning curve. The lads are all young. As a coaching staff, we're all young. So we're all just in it together to learn and and hopefully get the points on the board. But yeah, the lockdown come at a very bad time for us. But the one benefit that has come for us is that I think we only have one, maybe 2 injuries now. Where at the start of the season, I think we had 11 injuries, where we even had to put like the likes of Brad back into centre mid. We had to put our strikers back into full back positions. It was just horrendous. Whenever we could get a body, we was putting people on their pitch.
Yeah, I mean, it's injuries we know can it derails many teams. And as we know, that even teams at the professional level use injuries as an excuse for not getting certain results. But obviously, you've got a good coaching group there. Your injury management is clearly impressive, because if you've got 11 injuries going down to 2, that must mean you're working really, really well on that fitness side and that strength and conditioning side. You've got that experience within your coaching group. I still believe though that you're looking for the physio.
Yeah, all the injuries that we've had, Crossy's worked his magic and got someone back on the pitch earlier than what we expected. He gave us the advice, and obviously players always say no, I can play, but we've had to listen and say no, you need the extra week off. But yeah, Crossy's worked his magic on a few of them to get us back on the pitch for us. But yeah, we are looking for a physio. We're in desperate need of a physio. So anyone who is in college or university that needs to be fit to get the hours in, we'll gladly take them on if they're interested.
Yeah, that's something that the club will certainly look to help you with, and we'll get cracking on some kind of camp. Certainly ahead of this resumption, because it'll be great for you. Because I think you've done a great job, though. I mean, even Craig has chipped in and said you're doing great things with your staff, and it's all positive stuff going forward. Brad, for you as a player in that environment, I'm not sure how you've been affected with injuries yourself. As Leah's just said, players sometimes might say, I'm fit, I'm ready to play. Being a player at this level, do you find yourself ever sort of coming into conflict with the advice that the coaches or the physio would give you?
I think so. Yeah, I think luckily for me, I've not really been hindered by any injuries at all, really. I'll have a tight groin here and there, but I think if I get on a Thursday, I'll most likely be gone by the Saturday. But I think you only know your own body, don't you, really? So I think if you say you're able to play, I think you're able to play. But sometimes the management have got to step in and just say, listen, we don't think you're ready, and we're not willing to risk it. And I think that's what's good about our coaching staff. I think they won't risk it, and they won't risk any further injury. And then say if you're only out for 2 weeks and you want to play, you could end up being out for 2 months, 3 months. So I think with our coaching staff, they're brilliant with that kind of setup. So Lee especially, I think he's really good at that. He won't take any shit. He won't take nothing from the players.
One way of putting it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like Lee, you've been involved with the club for a while, and it's actually quite possible that you're the youngest player ever to play for our first team.
Yeah, I think it's between me and Peter Collis. I don't know if Peter Collis pips it by a bit, but yeah, it was between me and Peter. I remember Peter getting a call up before me, but I'm not too sure who's older between us. I'll say Peter's older.
So how did you?
I'll take the young age.
So you sort of got thrown in at the deep end, I understand, didn't you?
Yeah, we didn't have a reserve team at the time, so we only had a youth team with Kev Jones and Andy Gray. Phoned me and said, listen, we've got no defenders. I need you to come and start. But the only thing is, we're in a relegation battle and we need to win 2 out of the last 3 games. So I was like, oh, yeah, thank you very much. So as a young kid, I was very, very nervous.
No pressure. So who did you play against in those last 3 games?
So the first one was Whitby at home. Lucky enough, we got the 1-0 win to get us going, but then we had to go and travel to Gateshead up in Newcastle, and we ended up getting hammered 3-0. So it was like, but last game of the season away to Lincoln, and then obviously everyone knows about the famous game of Lincoln where we score last minute to stay up. Well, I think it was an hat-trick from Taylor, I think it was. I think his name was Taylor. Back in 2008, my memory's awful. But yeah, last game of the season, and we managed to pip it last minute to stay up.
Obviously, it's a great memory. I know it's relegation battle, but for you, coming into that as a senior-old, suddenly playing in front of all these people under that pressure, how would you say it made you feel?
The worst part about it was the build-up. Obviously, you're sitting in changing rooms and you know you're playing, you know how important the game is. You can hear the fans outside. The fans travel on the coach with you. Some of them come up on the car. But when we come off the coach, the fans were in the car park waiting for us, and they were singing and you know what they're all like. So it was quite nerve-wracking. But once the game got underway, you just literally you forget you got a job to do, and you just forget what's around you. Every time you get to think is when the ball goes out to play, and you get a couple of seconds to have a look around what's going around you, and you can see the fans. But once that ball gets kicked, you got a job to do.
Excellent, Brad. For you, then, you know, you've got two legends of the club in your dressing room. Are they full of stories? Do they do your head in with the stories? Do they remind you constantly?
Lee's quite quiet, I think, but I know Carl. He never stops. He doesn't stop. You know, as Lee said, when he's in the changing room and he constantly going on about his photo on the wall and stuff like that, and then he's always going on about his big goals and stuff. I think Carl's the worst.
I don't know how many times I've heard his FA Cup story.
Yeah.
Just sends us videos of him knocking arse out the FA Cup. Just constantly does it, yeah. And his goals against Chester.
Yeah.
Right. So, man's full of stories. So we've got a couple of questions come in. I don't think they're very serious questions, and I think we've had a few of them before. So we can say the border bit's behind us now. Who would you say is your worst trainer? Let's try and throw someone under the bus here. Who's your worst trainer?
Only.
Yeah, Ryan Dean. By far, Ryan Dean.
I wouldn't.
Brad, would you agree with that?
Yeah, I wouldn't disagree. It's like
that. When goalkeepers are getting back on the run before your players, then you know you're a bad trainer.
Who's got the worst haircut? And I'm not including the coaching staff.
You know what? I'll go. Michael Garside. Oh my God, he had a bad barnet going on. It looked like Rabiot.
Rabiot. Probably for me, probably Sam Price. I mean, his hair, I mean, his hair. I don't know what we can see. You know, when they're training and he's sweating, his hair's all over his eyes, and I just don't know how he can see. Probably why he can't kick a ball properly.
He's got hair like Boris Johnson.
Right, who's the biggest moaner in the group?
Oh dear God. Who'd you say then?
Can I say you, Lee?
You can do, yeah. I'm going for Scott Thomas.
Yeah.
That guy. Oh my God. Literally.
And who's your biggest diva?
Ooh.
Biggest diva.
Not made him get showers. So he couldn't even say who likes to get the products out. He always wants to shower. Hodgie. He always wants to get fresh, doesn't he? He wants to be clean.
Yeah, him and Jack Morton, I think.
Jack Morton. Yeah. He has a lot of stuff in his bag.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah.
Brilliant. We've run out of time. We're gonna close it there. It's been great chatting with you both. We got one last question I've got for you. Is are you writing the season off? Are you going to see the season out, get the best result you can, and focus on next season, or are you going to give these 7 games everything you've got and treat it like a normal running?
For us, it's all about winning. So even in friendlies, I hate losing, and I put that across to the staff and the players. No matter what, if we're playing a game, we're in to win. It's no matter who it's against. Even if you're playing younger age or anything, we're there to win. We're not there to mess around. We're there to do a job. So for these last 7 games for us, plus the 1 cup game that we've got, we're going to set up to win every game. And obviously at the same time, we'll evaluate what we might need to improve on for next season. But yeah, so for us, we're going to go out and try and win every game possible. And I know the lads wouldn't have any different either, because I don't think they would stay around the club. They would say, well, I'm not going to play for the club if it's going to go around and not take things serious. Obviously for the lads, this level, the next step up is counties, because we can't go any higher. So next step for them is semi-professional football. So it's for them to put these games, for them to put it right for themselves and keep the names of the game to be in Craig's hat for next season, especially when now the first team are involved. Craig's going to be at the training sessions. He's going to be at every match. So he's going to be watching us as staff, and he's going to be watching the players to see how they cope on the pitch.
Brilliant. I'd like to say thanks to you both for your time tonight. It's been a great session. Brad, I hope you're not put under too pressure for the rest of the season. The first team gaffer watching you. And I look forward to seeing you pulling the shirt on and running out at Oak Street.
Can't wait to get the shirt back on and just get going again, to be honest, mate.
Brilliant. I'll see if we can do everything we can to get you some support and some coverage between now and the end of the season. Thanks again, lads. Good night. Go and enjoy a good evening.
Thank you very much,
soon.
Dave.
Cheers,
Thank you. See you later. Thank you.
Cheers now.